What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with a brand new review for Raising Kanan. Actually, let's start over. It's Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Season 4, episode number. Child, what episode was this? Episode 5. The episode is titled The Nail That Sticks Up. Now, before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, you guys, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and get into this episode of Raising Kanan. Shall we? All right, guys, so I'm going to go a little bit out of order with this week's episode. So I'm going to start by talking about Neek, and then we're going to work our way around. So Neek in this episode, he's still being hella fucking creepy, right? So we see Neek as he went to Pernessa's house, and Pernessa's parents' house, right? And he put the money in the mailbox once again. And he walks off. It's like, oh my God, like how I do not like the direction that they are doing with Neek. So then we see Neek as he went to so you guys remember in last week's episode, he met up with that woman, Teresa. And so Teresa told him somebody to go speak to, right? So we see as he went and spoke to the person that Teresa sent him to. And he's still on this train of, Rock set me up to be taken out. Then she took out my brother. Here's my thing, Unique. Even though you think Rock took out your brother, which she did not, it was Kanan who shot your brother. But even still, your brother tried to take you out. Now, Neek, put two and two together. If Rock tried to take you out, why did she take out your brother if they were working together? I don't know what logic is making sense in Neek's head, because ain't nothing really adding up with Neek, right? So then the dude is like, but Rock, because Neek is talking about, taking Rock's business and taking her blocks, right? But the dude is like, but she's protected by Sal and, his people. And Neek is trying to say he had a good relationship with Sal, and the dude was like, not Sal, Stefano. So he's also telling him that Rock took out Sal. Rock did not take out Sal. See, Nick, you got all your wires crossed and they're wrong. Marvin took out Sal, but neither here nor there, and it had nothing to do with Rock because Rock knew nothing about that. But he wants to know if the dude is in, and the dude is like, motherfucker, you don't have a game plan and you ain't got nobody behind you. And he was like, but if you can come with an organization and a plan, we can talk. So then we see as Neek pulled up on OC, and OC is the guy that works with Kanan, right? So he's asking OC what he knows. So OC is telling Neek that Kanan is skimming money, and Rock is having issues with Quan. And then at the end of the episode, we see as Neek pulled up on Quan and revealed himself to Quan. So I don't know what the fuck Neek is doing. And like I said, I don't like what's going on with Neek. Keeping it a buck with you guys. I'm not feeling it. I ain't here for it. But I want you guys to tell me what you think and what you feel. And we will go ahead and pause here and we'll move on to the next scene. So next up, you guys, let's talk about Lou real quick, because there really ain't much to discuss when it comes to Lou in this episode. So we see Lou and Imani, right? Now remember, last week's episode, Imani was telling Lou, that she was going to be going and looking at some artists, right? So we see them as they're looking at, a duo. Then we see them looking at a white guy. The duo, Lou wasn't really feeling, right? But the little white guy, he was feeling it. But yeah, so it's given, it's given the white rappers from the 90s that I feel kind of appropriate our culture. But it is what it is. You guys can tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Then we also see them as they saw a group that was rapping. I forgot what the name of the group was, but it was a group. Now he did like that group, right? So then we see as they're back at the office, and so Imani is asking Lou to go out for a drink, and Lou was like, "Yeah, I don't drink." And she's like, "Well, why don't you come over to my place and I can show you my vinyls?" And I was like, "Oh, so y'all about to get it popping." And then we do see as they in her bed, she ain't got no bra on, he ain't got no shirt on, and they done had sex. And he was like, "So you gonna show me your vinyls?" I was like, Lou, 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 Lou. There was never any vinyls that she wanted you to see. She wanted the dick. That's all it was. And then they went for a round two. And that's that with Lou and Lou scene. Like I said, it really wasn't much with Lou. The majority of this episode centered around like Marvin, they mama, and actually this episode mostly centered around Fame. But we'll get to Fame in a minute because I want to actually close the episode with Fame because I'm very interested in this storyline. But moving on. Now, Juke. Let's start up with Juke. So we see Juke, and you guys remember last week's episode, Juke and Marvin, well, actually, Juke took out Aaron. That's that man's name, Mara's husband, right? So you remember, Marvin got stabbed, right? And so Marvin, I don't know, somebody stitched Marvin up, and so he's cleaning the wound, right? So Juke comes down and he asks her like, "Will you take the bandage off?" And so she's like, "Okay, cool." She was like, "You want it fast? You want it slow?" He kept going back and forth, and she just finally just ripped it off and cleaned it. So Marvin is asking Juke like, "So how are you? Like, are you good?" And Juke was like, "I'm straight. Like, ain't nothing wrong with me." I was like, here is that cold-blooded killer that we knew. Like, here is the person that we knew from the original Power a little bit, right? So then, they start talking about it because we see as she had met up with Mara, and, Mara was telling her that the cops are thinking that this is just someone broke in and tried to rob him in a sense, right? So then we found out that Juke asked Mara for his address the day that it happened, right? And so Mara's like, Juke, it wasn't you that did this, right? And Juke was like, no. She's like, the reason that I asked for your address is in case it happened again. I knew, I was trying to protect you basically, right? So back over to Marvin. Marvin is asking her, are you having bad dreams? Are you having nightmares? Are you able to sleep? And Juke was like, he was a bad guy. My friend says she feels, because, Mara was like, she hates to say it, but now that he's gone, she feels better, right? So Juke is like, my friend feels better. She don't feel bad about it. So I'm Gucci. I was like, girl, you literally. And she also said, it was between you and him, which that is the truth. But it's like, I couldn't imagine, even in self-defense, I'm sorry. I just can't imagine myself being okay with that after taking somebody's life, right? I really couldn't. But again, like I said, I think we're starting to see the progression of the jukebox that we met in the original Power series. But again, I want you guys' thoughts and I want you guys' opinions about that. So leave it down in the comment section, you guys, and we'll go ahead and we'll move forward. Next up, you guys, let's discuss Rock. So we see as Rock and Marvin are talking, right? And they're talking about, Andre and the fact that they're talking about Andre. They're talking about, the spots getting hit. So Rock is asking, actually, Marvin is telling Rock that the spots don't have any product, right? And she asks him, have you talked to Terry and David? And, he says that he had, he tells her what's going on. And Rock said that, she feels like she's going to have a conversation with Terry, the same conversation that she had with Irwin. And you guys remember last week when she asked, told Irwin, they're both in the marriage together, right? So that's the conversation that she's saying that she's going to have to go and have with Terry, right? And then she also let Marvin know, like, hey, the cops came out here and somebody took Andre out. And he was like, wow. He was like, so what the cops come here for? And, Rock was like, well, they came here because, me and Andre went out with each other the night before, the night that he died. And they're just trying to, connect all the dots when it comes to his whereabouts that night, right? So then we see it as Rock and Marvin, they went looking for Terry, but they found his brother instead, right? And his brother is saying that he doesn't know where Terry is. And so they asked him, like, why is our dope still on your docks? Like, why ain't y'all selling that shit? Like, we need that shit moving expeditiously, right? And Rock and Marvin, like, we are not people that you necessarily want to fuck with. And I actually agree with them. Like, you don't want to fuck with these people, right? So then he said that, after Terry's brother said after the robbery, Terry is now scared. And I mean, shit, who wouldn't be scared? Like, somebody pulls up to our dock, starts blasting motherfuckers, and I'm supposed to be like, okay, let's get back to regular business of selling these drugs. Bitch, hell no, right? Fuck no. So Rock wants to, kind of put a little bit of pressure on them, and Marvin was like, I don't think that threatening them is necessarily the way to go. So she tells Marvin that, okay, press on them, but not press too hard. You guys, I honestly feel like leaving this season, I don't think that Marvin is going to make it out. I honestly do not think that Marvin is going to make it out, but I want you guys to tell me what you think. So after that, we see as Rock met up with Quan, and Quan is telling Rock, like, you're a little short on the money, my good sis. And, because remember, last week, Quan went up on the prices for her, right? And Rock was like, I didn't agree to that bullshit. And he was like, even if you didn't agree with it, you still got to pay it. And so Rock was like, so why you fuck with me? Like, what have I done to you? Did I do something to you? Have I said something to you? Like, why are you fucking with me? So then he decides to bring up the fact that, she took over Neek's territory. I'm like, but Neek is presumed dead at this point. Who the fuck else was gonna take over it, right? Like, I just really want to know who the fuck else was gonna take over that shit and fill Neek's place. Remember, last season started where Rock was saying she was out of the business. She told everybody she was out of the business. Even Neek, even when her and Neek was banging, she told Neek, I'm out the business. I ain't got nothing to do with this. And then when Neek ended up, where he ended up, that's when Rock came back into the fold. So the fact that Quan is looking at her sideways, because he's talking about, with Neek might not have been, everything, but at least with Neek, he had honor. And Rock was looking at him like, I know you ain't talking to me about fucking honor when you gave we made a deal about these prices and you went up on them prices. So that ain't honor. That's some bitch shit. And so he told her, I met your son, Kanan, right? And he was like, I hope you're a better mother than you are a business person. And I said, now, Quan, you trying to, motherfucker. You're really trying to, sir. So then we see so remember, last week, now I didn't catch in the episode, I was looking at that man in last week's episode. I kept looking at that man that was playing the guy that Marvin was torturing. I kept looking at him like, this looked like Basie Skanks from Greenleaf. I kept looking at him like, this looked like Basie Skanks from Greenleaf, and I didn't confirm it until I watched Rox's video after I had uploaded my review, and I was like, I thought that was Basie Skanks. And then it clicked into me. We did see him in season 1 or 2. I can't remember which season was, because he had the little S curl swirl thing. I was like, oh, that is right. That is Basie Skanks. Okay. But so remember, she got the connect from him, right? Remember, that guy told Rock he would get back to her, but Rock ain't got no time to be dealing with this shit. She need an answer today. And he was like, if I'm going to be entertaining this with you, then I need, because he's talking about, I'm hearing some issues about the territory, and I want to have a meeting with everybody. And so Rock was like, you know what? I can facilitate that meeting for you, right? And so then after that, we see as Rock got home and Pernessa was there. So Pernessa is asking Rock, like, so have you been putting money in my parents' mailbox? And Rock was like, bro, what the fuck would I put money in your parents' mailbox for? She's like, because you probably feel bad about what you did to Neek. And Rock was like, girl, for the last time, how many times do I have to say this? Do I have to scream this from the top of the rooftop? I ain't did shit to Neek, right? And we found out that Neek has been doing this for a couple of months. And I was like, wow, a couple of months, huh? And in this particular, but Rock is like, well, maybe, Neek has somebody that, he owed favors to or, was in good graces with, and they're just helping you out. Like, it ain't a bad thing to have money put in your mailbox. So I was like, exactly. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, Pernessa, girl, what the fuck are you complaining about? Like, somebody put money in your mailbox that you ain't, I mean, as the age old saying goes, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is. So then we move on and we see Marvin. So Marvin caught up with Terry, right? At this point, Terry is, he ain't scared of shit. Telling Marvin he gonna go to the cops. I was like, that was your fatal error, sir. Because he's like telling Marvin, like, you can do this, you can do that, you can tell my wife about the picture. I can get a divorce. I'd rather have a divorce than to be dealing with this shit right here. And Marvin's like, you only saying that because you ain't never, died before. And I was like, well, he about to do it. This is about to be the first and last time that he does it. And lo and behold, Marvin just pop, the man. I was like, Marvin, you are really you are really trigger happy when it comes to these guns. I mean, like, the step and fetch him, man, you blasted him. The step and fetch him, man, he blasted him, and then this man, it was like four, it was at least, I know I counted two up here. No, it was four, and then he did two more at the end. I was like, damn, Marvin, you just, okay. But let's pause here, you guys, and I think we're going to wrap up this episode. Now, I'm going to talk about Kanan's scene first, and then we'll move it back around to Fame, right? So Kanan, we see as OC went to the trap house, right? He's given, he's talking to Kanan. He's giving Kanan what he got, right? So Kanan asked him, has the crew, do they still have their eyes open, right? OC says yes. He asked, well, have they found out anything? OC says they haven't really found out anything. But like I said, I've already talked about it. We saw OC talking to Unique. So OC is lying to Kanan. And then OC is talking to Kanan about the fact that he's skimming money, right? So Kanan told OC, that ain't got nothing to do with you. That ain't, mind your motherfucking business, basically, right? But Kanan, this ain't a good look. This ain't a good look. I know that Kanan is taking the advice from Snaps and Pop. Y'all know I always get it wrong. I don't know if it's Snaps and Pop or Pops and Snap. One of the two. But Kanan, interesting. He's skimming, right? But like I said, Kanan is skimming, and we see as Kanan went to a storage unit. So in this storage unit, Kanan has a chest, right, where it's a lot of money in that chest. I was like, that's interesting. I wonder, because there's a lot of things that I'm wondering when it comes to the original Power, because because Kanan didn't have anything coming out of prison. So I'm wondering what's going to become of this money later on in this season or future seasons. But neither here nor there, right? Now, the episode, it opened up with a flashback scene, right? So we see a young Famous getting beat up by, I'm assuming that was his mama's boyfriend, Luis. So the man was beating the shit out of Fame, right? And it got so bad that his mama stepped in and Luis started beating her up. I was like, damn. So Jessica took Fame to his room, and we see Fame was in his bed, and so Fame got woken up by his mom. So they ran out to go to the car of whoever was helping them get away, right? And they didn't get in the car because Fame said he left his toy. So Fame ran back in the house to get his toy. As he got his toy, he was going back out, and Luis was there, and he hit Fame one more time. But then his mama came up and she got him right in the gut, right? And so they ran and they went to a shelter. Now we move to present day with Fame's mom. She's down to the police station. She's talking to Agent Garcia, right? So Garcia is telling Fame's mom that, this is not a missing person. This is a fugitive because there's a warrant for his arrest. When this warrant was issued, Fame then took off running. So yeah, this ain't a missing persons, man. We looking for a fugitive. I was like, damn. Okay. But then he suggests to her, like, if anything, if anybody knows anything, it's gonna be Kanan Stark. And she's like, that's his best friend. Like, they have known each other since they were kids. But he was like, things change. I was like, but yeah, Kanan ain't done nothing to his best friend. And so then we see as Mrs. Garcia is talking to Kanan, right? And she's asking Kanan, and Kanan was like, who told you that? Was it Garcia? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, I don't know anything about Fame. And Juke was there too. And Juke was like, yeah, we don't know anything. But we want to know what's going on with Fame. And if we know something, we'll definitely tell you, right? So then after that, we see Kanan and Juke. They ended up having to leave, right? Because they got a call about their grandmother. So grandma ended up falling. They went over to grandma's house to call, and so they were gonna call the ambulance for her. And she was like, yeah, I'm not paying for that. Like, absolutely not. But we do see them as they get to the hospital. So we see as Lou got the page from Kanan and Juke, and Rock got the page from Kanan and Juke, right? Everybody went to the hospital with the exception of Rock. Rock didn't go to the hospital, but Marvin and Lou did go to the hospital, right? And at the hospital, the doctor is telling them that the fall, she's fine from that, but she's getting weaker because of the cancer, and she needs round the clock care. My God, my words, get your words together today, JB. She needs hospice is what she needs, because I remember that when my grandmother had cancer, they had to bring in hospice for her. And even with my uncle and even my grandfather, they bring in hospice once, when you're getting towards the end of your days, right? And then we see as Marvin went to the mama's room. The mom is in pain. They have her on morphine, but I know that can't be comfortable. It's only as comfortable as they can make it, but you're still in pain because the cancer is it's all in your body and it's attacking your body and all that kind of stuff. So she asked Marvin for help to just put an end to it. And we see her at home, and Marvin told her, yeah, Ma, I can't do that. And she was pissed off at him, right? I want to pose this question to you guys and tell me what you think and feel. Because oh God, like when you think, because like I said, I remember my grandmother. I hated my grandmother, my grandfather, and my uncle. I absolutely hated seeing them in that hospital, especially my grandmother, because you could see, actually, like the night so she passed away on New Year's Day, right? So we got to the hospital New Year's Eve, and the doctor, he felt like he was touching her body, and she would wince because he said you can see, like you could see it, you could see her body reacting to the cancer, and you could really see it, and you could tell that she was in pain, right? So when it comes down to this, I have so many mixed emotions, because you don't want to see someone that you love in any kind of pain like this, right? Excruciating pain where they're begging you, please just end it now, right? Like, you don't want to see that. Man, I want you guys again. I want you guys to really tell me how would you feel? But she was pissed off at Marvin, and I don't know if I can't say I blame her. I really truly can't say I blame her. But again, I want you guys just to tell me what you guys think and what you guys feel, right? So to end the episode, we see this kid. So this kid went to the bodega and he stole a 40, right? And so he ran out and the guy chasing behind him. So he dipped into a little building. And so you see a mattress and you see a hand hanging out of the mattress, hanging out from up under the mattress. And so they lift it. We didn't see the body. We saw the kid throw up, and then we get down to the police station, and Fame's mom is there, and Garcia is telling her that that is Fame. And so they pull him out. He's in the morgue, and they pull the body out. Again, we didn't see the body, but we do know that from the original Power that Fame did die, and because he's the namesake of Sean. That is so fucking interesting. That Kanan Sean is his best friend who is deceased, and then Kanan took out his own son named Sean. Child, I can't. But that is the episode, you guys. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, you guys, and also share the video. And until the next time, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, you guys. And so the only thing coming up, we got Real Housewives of Atlanta and Married to Medicine. And I'll catch you guys for those videos. But yeah, you guys, see you guys then. Bye.